So we can see your driving documents if we want.
Of course you can't. I ain't committed a crime.
Right, of course we can. You don't have to commit a crime for us to see your driving documents.
All right.
Come on, let's see them then.
Let you see what?
Your driving documents.
For what?
That vehicle we've just seen you drive in.
Right, PNC it.
Now, do we know that you're the PNC driver or registered keeper?
What's all this to do with? I've come to see my brother and now I've got two police officers. Let me start with, are you honouring your oath today? Are you honouring your oath today you took as a police constable?
The law states that as a driver of a motor vehicle on a public place, you have to give us your driving documents so we can prove you, we can check your licence.
The law does it?
It does, yeah.
Okay. All right. Can you quote that for me then? Can you quote the act and section of what act you're on about, please?
Told you so.
No, you've told me law. The common law of the land is that you must not cause loss, harm or injury to another human being. That's the law. You're on about a statute. Can you tell me what act and what section of act you're requiring?
You have to provide details if you're the driver of a vehicle in a public place.
Right, okay. Carry on.
Have you got your driving documents on you?
Am I obliged to answer that question?
Well, it's a question, isn't it?
No, am I obliged to answer it?
Well, I need to make sure that you are insured to drive this vehicle.
Well, that's a daft question. What? I've just pulled up here. What are you doing here? I'm here to visit my brother.
Unfortunately, people do drive vehicles that are insured to do so.
Right, and
so
under what suspicion? Under what suspicion are you questioning me on my vehicle?
Hold
on a second. I've come to see my brother, and I'm being stopped by two public servants.
So aggressive.
Well, why have you stopped me? I'm walking to my brother's house. Why have you stopped me?
Because you've been very evasive and acting suspiciously.
What? Acting suspiciously? I pulled up in a car and went to walk to my brother's house.
Do you think that's conventional behaviour to be acting so aggressively?
Do you think that public servants should approach someone with no suspicion of any crime or whatsoever? A guy's just pulled up in his car and he's going to visit his brother.
You don't know why we're here.
Right. Well, go on then. Why are you here?
I have to tell you why we're here.
Right. But you have to tell me. You have to tell me why you want my details.
Part of our inquiries, we asked you what your details were. You refused to tell us. So
I haven't refused. I haven't refused anything.
Yes, you have. What's your details then?
Am I obliged to answer that?
Yeah.
Yes, by law. If not, we'll arrest you.
And we don't need to justify to you why you're obliged to say it. We're asking you the question.
Of course you do.
No, we don't.
You're public servant.
What's your
of course
name
you
and
do.
address?
It's got nothing to do with you. PNC me if you want.
It says police. It doesn't say ASDA.
Right. Great.
So, what's your name?
Under what act and what section of what act?
What is your name? Because
This is
otherwise
absolutely
you're now
crazy.
giving me grounds to search you because you're acting suspiciously at this time of night.
I'm visiting my brother. Come on, let's go and visit my brother. Come on.
Stay here a second,
Don't
chap.
touch me.
Stay here a second. Otherwise, you're going to get locked up. All right, we're trying to do this the easy way. Foxtrot Yankee.
Get your sergeant down here.
Upper whiskey uniform. I am the sergeant.
You are the sergeant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So what's going on here?
I've just told you, chap.
You're being very
All you've got to
obstructive,
do is give us your details.
aggressive.
I know my rights, mate.
I don't care. I'm asking you a question.
Right. What
And
crime
you're
have I committed?
We don't know yet because you won't tell us who you are. As far as we're concerned, you could have driven that vehicle with no insurance.
PNC it.
No, because how do we know you're the PNC keeper?
Well, let's start with PNC in it and checking there's insurance on it. We'll go from there, shall we?
The skipper's been doing that, but I want
Right,
to know
excellent.
who you are.
Excellent.
I would like to know
We'll
who
go
you
from
are.
there, shall we?
Well, we can't disclose who the PNC keeper is to you, because that's data protection.
This is crazy. I've just pulled up to see my brother, and what you guys are stopping on me, assaulting me. I do know my rights. I know that you know what? I know what law of the land is. Yeah, you can't touch me. It's common assault.
No.
Come on, you tell me what common law is. Define me what common law is.
No, I'm not giving you a law lesson. I've asked you a question.
Well, I know the law, mate.
You're shouting, you're bawling, and I don't
Here we go.
know
Get John. I've got two coppers here. I pulled up to see my brother, and I've got two coppers assaulting me and all sorts here.
Well, maybe your brother's going to confirm who you are, but I don't know why you just didn't tell us in the first place.
Because I'm not obliged to tell you. I'm here to visit my brother.
By law you are, mate. It's that simple. Just before it goes any further, sir. Okay. Can I just have a quick chat with you? Is that right?
Well, no, I'm all right here. Oh, right. Well, we'll just go over the same reaction.
What's
so.
this gentleman's name?
We're not obliged to answer that. I'm sorry, but we haven't committed a crime here. I've come to visit my brother. We have no dealings with you whatsoever. I haven't committed a crime, and I'm under no suspicion of committing a crime.
Well, we need to make sure you haven't taken that vehicle without consent then, so we need to know who you are.
It's a joke, isn't it?
Well, no, I don't find it funny.
Well, neither do I, actually, to be honest. I've just pulled up. I've just been at work here, and then I've pulled up.
Right, we seem to be going around in circles. All we're asking is for your details. Why you wouldn't tell us, I find quite suspicious.
Because I don't have to, because I'm not obliged to.
Well, we've told you, mate. So if need be, we'll arrest you. We'll take you to the police station, and then we'll put your fingerprints on the fingerprint machine.
Right, but what were you arresting me for?
Because I'll explain this to you.
Yeah.
You've been seen driving on a public road, so therefore, by law, you have to provide us with your driving documents, all your details, so we can check you've got.
It's an offence not to produce them for a police officer.
It's not an offence at all.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, but what?
Right, I'm asking you to provide your driving licence and your MOT and insurance for that vehicle.
Under what act and what section of act have I?
The question is, have you got your driving licence, MOT and insurance?
Right, you have to provide me...
No. I've asked the question.
Right.
Now, if you fail to produce those, you commit an offence for which you can be reported. And if you don't give me your details, I cannot report you. You can be arrested. So... That's the bottom line.
Give them under duress.
I'm not obliged to. I'm not obliged to give you my details. Right. So you need
no,
to.
No, I've just asked you. Are you going to
No.
give me your details?
You need to provide me.
No, I don't.
Of course you do.
I do not.
You need to provide
I do
me
not.
with the act and the section of what act and the full wording of
No, I don't.
what you are.
I've just asked you.
At the moment.
Of course you
I've just asked you a
do.
question.
Of course you do.
I've just asked you a question.
I am a member of the public, yeah? You are requiring my details off me. You need to tell me what act and what section of what act and the full wording, please.
Under the Road Traffic Act,
Right.
I am
What-
allowed
and what
to
act- and what act have I-
Under the Road Traffic Act, I'm allowed to ask you to produce your documents.
Right.
Because we've just seen you driving in that
We
vehicle.
can word it as demand if you want, mate. We're not trying to be
Demand.
awkward here. We're
You
trying to
can't-
do this the easy way.
Well, we're not getting semantics, okay? Ask, demand.
No. The meaning
know-
of words is very important.
Well, actually, demand and ask isn't really.
It is.
No,
It
it
is.
isn't.
A
In
demand.
law-
A demand
in law
is
they are.
in
Well,
law.
as I say,
It
I'm
is
not going
very
to get
much
into
so.
semantics. I'm requesting then, okay?
Right. Well, I can decline a request.
Well, no, you can't if you don't produce your documents because you commit the offence.
If there's someone free that can start floating.
You're absolutely crazy. This. I just got out of my car and he started touching me and everything. I don't know. He's like, which house are you? They're obviously knocking on a house over there. He's like, which one of these is yours? I was like, none of them. I'm off to see my brother. And then he started touching me and saying, right, I want this vehicle, this, blah, blah, blah.
So I've asked you
Look,
the
now he's
question.
looking in my car.
I've
You
asked
lot are
the
mental.
question. I've asked you the question, are you going to provide your documents?
Am I obliged to?
Yes.
So what law has he broken?
I'm not speaking to you, sir. I'm speaking to this gentleman.
No, this is my brother.
I don't care who it is. Could be your uncle, your father. I'm asking you, sir. Have you got your driving documents with you?
Am I obliged to answer that question?
Well, if you fail to produce them when I request you, you do commit the offence. So I've explained it to you several times.
You're crazy. You're crazy, man. Craziness.
And we could have avoided this situation if you hadn't been so aggressive when you got out of the vehicle.
Well, I wasn't aggressive at all. I got approached by a public servant, even though I'm just visiting my brother. I've nothing to do with these houses here.
A police officer who's asked you for your documents.
No, I've been
So where are
approached by a public servant.
Surely there should be probable cause or something.
There's got to be some.
Has there been a stolen car in the area? Is it that description?
It doesn't work out like that, I'm afraid.
Well,
We can
Of
stop,
course it does.
We can
Of course it
stop
does.
any vehicle on a road without an offence to check the driver's details, to make sure they're insured, they have a full substantive driving licence, and they've got an MOT for the vehicle.
You can do a vehicle check and see. if
How
it's
do we know
insured.
this gentleman's the person who's on those
Well,
records?
you've got no reason to believe he isn't.
Well,
Right, well,
he's not given us details, so I have got a reason to believe.
No, that is not really.
no, you know, I've got all this on. I've got all this on here. I'll tell you what. You PNC it, yeah, and then I'll come down and speak to your inspector.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
and I'll play him this
it
video and
doesn't-
explain.
no, it doesn't work
Explain.
like that. It doesn't work
Of
like
course
that.
it
That video
works
shows
like
we've
that.
been more than reasonable all the way. So let's do this the easy way because we're going around in circles. Okay, you give us your details, and as long as you're insured to drive that vehicle and you've got a driving licence, then you can go in there. We can crack on, and there's no further issues. Because if not, you're going to be coming with us. So let's do it the easy way, chat, shall we?
It's crazy. I was pulled up and now I'm going to be arrested.
Well, potentially, yeah. We need to make sure that people driving on the road have got insurance and they've got driving licences. That's all we need to do.
Right.
Are you really going to end up getting locked up for something as trivial as that?
What?
Well, it's
What
gonna
can
end
I
up in
ask?
court then, isn't
What
it?
was your purpose for
Well, no,
coming
it's not,
here?
'cause if
We
he's
don't
got-
have to disclose that to you.
If you
Right,
end up in court,
but you two were stood here. You weren't waiting for me, but then I've pulled up and now you've decided, oh, let's jump on him and ask for my details. What were you doing here originally? Shouldn't you be getting on with what you're supposed to be doing?
It doesn't
Disclose
matter,
that
so
to you.
we're going around in
But,
circles.
but
Let's
why
do
have
this
why have you imposed on my right to walk to my brother's house and you're now asking for my details? What under what suspicion have you decided to go with all this and start
From your
touching me
behaviour when you
and
got
start
out of the
touching me?
vehicle. As
My
soon as you got out of the
behaviour?
vehicle.
What?
That was after you'd
I
gone
exited
towards
my
the
vehicle
house.
and started walking towards my
So I
brother's
asked you a
house.
question, and the aggression towards us straight away
Right,
would
but
lead me to suggest that perhaps there's something not quite right.
okay, well, there's two. I pull up. There's a police car there, yeah, and there's an officer stood at that property, yeah. I pull up in my vehicle, slowly pull into a driving space, get out of my car, and start to walk my brother's house. But that is suspicious to you.
Well, you didn't just walk out, did you? You started ranting and raving before you got to your brother's.
Pardon? So if you hadn't have approached me, what would have happened? I'd have happily
I'm
walked,
not gonna talk about what might
unmolested,
have happened.
to my brother's. Why not?
Because I'm talking about the here and now.
This is all frivolous, absolutely frivolous.
Well,
it's craziness.
As I say, frivolity, if you want to call it that, but I've asked you to produce your documents and you're refusing to. So
I'm not refusing to. I've asked you, am I obliged to?
Yes.
Under what act and what
I've
section
just
of what
told
act?
you're obliged to.
I must have broken one of your codes for you to require my details.
Just wait for description to come through, man. If not, we'll just arrest him.
Arrest me for what?
We've told you, mate. We're going round in circles here, okay? By law, you've got to oblige with your details. If not, you can be arrested because you drove
But
that vehicle on
you
a
surely
public
you
road.
need probable cause to ask
No,
for
we
them.
don't.
Of course you
don't.
do.
You just walk around and I demand your details.
Otherwise-
I demand your details. Can I have your details, please? What's your number? Right, and what's your name, please?
It's on my collar.
Otherwise, all the disqualified.
There's no number on your collar.
I'm not telling you I am.
Right, what's your number? Could you read it out for me, please?
697.
And if
Right.
you did a vehicle check and there was
Sorry, what's your
something
name,
not
please,
quite
sir?
right,
Sergeant Burtonshaw,
Number?
1162.
1162, please.
but surely if you did a vehicle check and there wasn't something right, then you've got probable cause to find something out.
I don't
If he
know
hasn't been,
I don't know if this chap's disqualified or not, do I?
well, how do you know anyone is?
Exactly.
because
That's why
if
we
they-
stop
So
vehicles.
you stop every single vehicle on the road,
We can stop a vehicle on a road to check that the driving documents are in order.
and you can demand documents
Yes.
for no good reason.
Yes.
Well, it is a good reason because we're checking that everybody's insured to drive.
And so
Right, but
what act and what
so
section of Act
what are you doing?
says
Are
have
you
the power to do that?
so have you been sent here to check people's insurance details on their cars?
Well, what if we had?
Right. Well, you're not going to knock on everyone's door here. That's a strange thing to be doing at 10 o'clock at night, at half 10 o'clock at night. He's coming
doing
round
anything about it.
and
Doesn't matter,
checking
we work
people's
24-hour
insurances.
shifts, don't we?
Right, but there are people in bed. Do they really want you knocking on the door asking if they've got
No,
insurance?
so we're going to be knocking on doors.
Right, but what are you doing here? I don't understand. You were here for something.